Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you another video. Alright, so I'm walking my meal off. I caved. Got myself the fajitas I've been talking about getting all this time. Said numerous prayers about it, like, Lord, I'm not working out, doing my 100 set, and I'm gonna eat like this. What am I setting the precedent for? But at the end of the day, man, I just wanted to finally get the meal. I hadn't been able to afford that meal at any point in time since the first couple weeks I've been here. And I don't give myself any cheat meals, y'all know that. I skip past every single cheat meal there is, so I figured it's a Sunday. I could go ahead and do that and then walk it off a little bit. So, you know, I'm gonna definitely be working out. I'm not losing my motivation for that or skipping bad meals, so there ain't gonna be an issue to do both going forward. But right now, just figured I'd eat something that I enjoyed. It's delicious. Tastes as good as I remember it. Well worth it. The only thing I wish is that I would have went down there to pick it up sooner because it wasn't as hot. And of course I don't have an oven in my room, but other than that, it was delicious. I ate the whole thing. That's another thing. My metabolism burns food better these days since I've added so much more muscle since when I got over here. So it's like I can eat more or less. And it was a real delicious meal, man. Last time I had it, I had to split it in half. This time, no, I scarfed down the whole thing. So I was pleased with that. Very pleased with the meal. Probably won't buy it again, but I just wanted to get it this time. So, yeah, man. 4:30, I'm going to have my family Bible study coming up. It's like 2:22 right now, so I figured I'd walk around for a couple minutes and go back in there, take another one of them cold showers, and try to be ready for the Bible study in time. So that's what I'm hopeful to do right here. Just walk the meal off. And then hopefully get back to my squat regimen tomorrow. Of course, I'm doing the push-ups and the morning squats with the suitcase. I'm doing all of that, but that don't count. This is my cardio that I'm referring to when I do my hundreds. I do like a couple thousand squats, however many it ends up being. It gives me all the cardio and definition that I need. So, given the fact that I haven't done that very much this week, I think I did it the first 2 days of the week and then didn't do it anymore. I feel like I've been messing up, but I really haven't. In all honesty, those squats in the morning do a whole lot. So, you know, just wanted to give myself a cheat meal, man. What can I say? I've been talking about it for weeks, and I finally caved. But you know, I ain't listened to the videos I did yet. Probably listen to them as I'll take a nap after the Bible study or something. That's likely how I'll do it. But you know, just feeling good, man. Feeling great. Hopefully the Lord would just keep me motivated to do the right things. That's what I was praying about. Like, man, I don't want this to be the beginning of the end with my body and all the work I'm doing. I don't want to start being lazy on my workouts and then from there eating bad and it goes left. It's like at any given point you start thinking that you're going to head down the wrong direction. But I think that's a good sign, given the fact that you are concerned about it. It's when you're not concerned about it that things go wrong as it pertains to your goals. But when you are and you're motivated, you don't have those issues. So I'm going to continue to remain motivated and let it be what it's supposed to be. But yeah, man, just enjoying my Sunday. I hope everybody's enjoying theirs. You know, fantasy football. I finally lost a game with a team that I had been undefeated with. Very disappointed in that because started Tony Dale from the Houston Texans, and he did not play today. If he would have gave me his normal production, I probably would have been cool. But instead, I ended up losing that game and probably several others where I started them too. So that was a little bit of light frustration. I'm like, man, Tony, you ain't play. And then his other teammate Collins went off and got all the points that you would expect Tony to get. So I'm like, man. Tank Dale, I think is his name, not Tony Dale. It's Tank Dale. But nevertheless, man, he ain't play. I wasn't able to use him. So it was what it was. But you know, it's a nice day, man. Ain't nothing special going on out here. I done said all I wanted to say about most of the most important topics. And you know, one thing that's going on right now is Josh Giddey's situation. I didn't really touch on that. I try not to touch on allegations and stuff like that during my Laker videos or my NBA videos. I just try to leave those guys' stuff out of my channel. But in this case, I think I'll touch in on it right now since it's on my mind. No more reason than that. But you know, he's gotten in trouble because 2 years ago he found himself spending a night with a girl who was underage, and he was 19 years of age. You know, it's one of those things where it's like now everybody's calling him the worst word, the P word, you know. And from what I understand, there was a lot of controversy about how it's being handled by ESPN, specifically Malika Andrews, of whom we've talked about on this channel a little bit. I guess she was more so reluctant to speak on it until earlier this week. No, but my thing with Malika Andrews is she doesn't speak for herself. A lot of times I think people think some of these talking heads have more power than they do. ESPN runs a tight ship. You talk about what they want you to talk about, and you don't talk about what they don't want you to talk about, and that's it. When you know how that place is set up and how they run it, you don't really think any of their employees really have the ability to speak on what they want to speak on. They represent who's writing the checks, and they, like I said, they run a tight ship. That's like a compound up there in Bristol, Connecticut. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, no, that she is a extension of the intentions of her employers, and that is how I look at Malika Andrews. And a lot of times I think they set people up to have the image that they want them to have for the controversy necessary. They make her unlikable on purpose. And I've been saying that for over a year. When we talked about her last on this channel a long time ago, I told you, I was like, look, they're making that black woman hateable. And I think they're doing it on purpose. And she needs to guard against that. That's been my point on her the whole time. I look straight past her. She's what, 27 at the oldest? 26, 27 years old, man. She's very articulate, very pretty, and she's going to do what they tell her to do. That's it. Now, if she has more power than I think, so be it. And there's a lot of those conversations that are being said about her as it pertains to what her intentions are and what she says needs to be understood. But as far as I can tell, it makes her someone that is talked about more when she has a certain Uncle Ruckus type of energy about her personality, as it pertains to she don't like her own people. They set her up to look like that, man. And so that's my opinion on Malika Andrews. Now, that doesn't mean that she don't agree with some of the stuff that they do in there. It doesn't mean that they don't, you know what I mean, that she's not aligned. She may be. But whether she is or not, I don't think it would make a difference at all. If she wants to keep her job, she needs to be talking about what they tell her to and not talking about what they ask her not to. And that's my take on that. But anyway, as it pertains to this Josh Giddey situation, people are mad at her because she ain't speak on it soon enough. And, you know, it's one of those things where maybe she has spoken out. Not maybe, but she most definitely spoke out on some other things. Not that I follow too closely, but listen to others talk about it. Black athletes came out, maybe had some potential controversy. Hell, maybe didn't even have any. I did see the one that they were talking about in regards to the coach of the Boston Celtics, where she came out and just offered up circumstances that took place with him that people didn't even know about when they were introducing him. But I thought it was, and I hate to do this, but I thought it was somewhat relevant because he was replacing someone who had certain allegations. So it wasn't completely out of bounds that she offered up allegations that may have been attached to his name, only because he's, in a sense, supposed to be replacing somebody who failed in that area. And so that's why I didn't look at that as crazy as most people are looking at it, because I thought within context it was important that we know that the person the Boston Celtics chose to replace Ime Udoka with may have done some things that would have otherwise gotten Ime Udoka fired. So it's like, that's relevant. I saw it that way. But nevertheless, there's some people who weren't pleased with that. And I understand that part, the point of view for sure. And other situations where she may have spoken out on some black folks who had some allegations or something that may have been explicitly opinionated about how they needed to be taken down for it or what have you. She's been very opinionated about circumstances such as these, apparently. I've heard her have conversations, but I can't pinpoint any of them, so I'm not going to sit up here and say she's this, she's that. I don't remember. I just remember she said some things, and I was like, But it's like, is she able to not say those things? Did they tell her to say those things? Was it a point for them when they were putting together the show she was on to say certain things? I'd imagine so. I'd imagine so. In rehearsals, they're like, all right, this is what we're going through, or going to use you to say. These are your pointers. Be as critical as you would like to be, and that kind of thing. Leave her a little room to let her personality shine, but the majority of what it is they're trying to give out, she's supposed to be a microphone for their intentions. And so for my thing, it's like, all right, cool. I look at her that way. If I have something I don't like that she said, I'm looking immediately at her bosses. I'm looking at the people above her, and I'm saying, y'all got your people saying some bullcrap. That's the only way to approach that situation, in my opinion. So anyway, let's send her back to Giddy. Basically, they mad at her for not speaking up on Giddy. She finally did speak up on Giddy, and she was really light with it as it pertains to how she handles other situations, apparently. Cool. So that's one aspect of the Giddy situation. Another aspect is now it's understood that Gloria Allred may be getting involved in this situation as it pertains to representing the young lady who was alleged victim in the conversation. I think Josh Giddy is in a hell of a world of trouble if that is actually the case. A world of trouble. Because I'm old enough to remember Gloria Allred from everything that she's done since the OJ case. I thought she was involved in the OJ case. I'm pretty damn certain she was in there somewhere. But if she's involved, it's going to be hell to pay for whomever, absolutely whomever is being accused of whatever. You're going to have to pay. And so that's the problem with Josh Giddy, I think, right now, is he's involved in a situation where they got a real legal shark on his backside about these allegations. And if it turns out he did what they said he did, he could be potentially forking over his entire wealth, man, all of it, like literally all of it. Literally all of it. Because he hasn't, and the thing about it for me is, what doesn't seem run of the mill to me is the timing. And when I say run of the mill, is like, all right, usually in situations like this, you're gonna wait for homie to get the most money he can make. It's the same thing I said about Miles Bridges. Maybe there's a science behind this. But if you know a guy is about to sign a $160 million deal, why would you, someone who's trying to take money from him, step in the way of him getting that deal? Somebody's not informed on this situation as it pertains to the money grab aspect of it, or that speaks to him being guilty as hell and they don't care nothing about money. But there's another aspect of this that makes it seem like they do care about money or something. I don't know how to look at it, but the fact that Josh Giddy, in this situation, they're saying that the alleged victim's parents and the victim herself are not cooperating with the police. That sets you up to believe that there is some idea that they want to get some money out of this. So are they not informed as to the idea of what Josh Giddy's at and where he is in his career as it pertains to where he's about to make? Because you want to sue him for such and such an X amount. Homie's about to get a 17,000 times that if you wait a couple years before bringing this out. Now maybe that puts you in a position to have less credibility when you wait. But since when has that been the case in this country? You know what I'm saying? When you see people come out, there's no statute of limitations on stuff like that from my understanding. So it just seems to me that there's a lot to look at. And maybe just on the lowest of frequencies of thinking, they just don't know what the hell they're doing as it pertains to trying to money grab this dude. You don't step in the way of him getting the biggest bag, in my opinion, if you're trying to snatch a bag from him. Now, one way of looking at it, I guess, is, and this is just me from my layman's way of thinking, maybe if he has more money, he'll be able to fight the case better, and thus he'll probably end up losing it even more so. But at this point, with where he's at financially, he should be able to fight it and win it if that's the case anyway. He's not poor, but he's not wealthy like he's about to get based on his talent level and what he's likely going to garner in this league if he doesn't have any blemishes on his name. All of this is backwards to me. All of it. Not cooperating with the police. I'd love to know an explanation for that. I could speculate all day, but I'd love to have an explanation for that. Why don't you want to work with the cops on this? Do you not trust the cops? Is that part of your defense? That you're afraid the cops are going to cover for him and you could bribe them or something? Curious to me. I have no idea. I really don't know. But I'm curious. That kind of, to me, based on where I'm sitting, speaks to you. Not, and I'm speaking of the victim, maybe not necessarily looking all that great in the situation if they were to invest in it. You know, it's a lot has been said about her possibly having lied about her age to Josh Giddey at the time. That's not abnormal, unfortunately. Girls do lie about their age when they're trying to date older guys. But that doesn't also put the guy in a position to where the law isn't going to come down on him. Now, maybe they didn't want him they didn't want to cooperate with the cops because if he gets arrested, he can't work. And that can kind of step in the way of the bag. It's the same conversation we had about Porter when he got in a situation earlier in the summertime. The alleged victim there said that she didn't want him, you know, she basically said he didn't do any of the stuff that he did. Once she started realizing how much trouble he was getting into, now it was like, nah, he didn't do nothing. All of this is a lie. Can't believe y'all prosecuting him. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. That wasn't necessarily how you were acting when it happened that night. But once you start realizing that the bag is disappearing, then both parties is like, wait a minute. So these are young people, parents. I don't know what the parents' background is, what their mentality is, or what have you. But to me, it just seems like people are a little uninformed about what opportunities to make money off of this guy are actually there. That's what it seemed like to me. People just don't know that this boy can make a lot more money if y'all just don't move the way y'all moving in regards to the situation. And thus will pay you more money because of it. But I don't know, man. I just don't expect much up and up from, you know, people to be on the up and up about anything these days when it comes to stuff like this. Because we're in this capitalistic society, and it ain't about justice, it's about a bag. You know, I look at that P. Diddy situation and what he was allegedly able to pay off Cassie all kinds of money to keep this thing quiet. Like, where's the justice? What if he's a repeat offender? If he's so damn guilty, you ain't that much less guilty for allowing him to go back on the street for a bag. I mean, you're a few degrees of separation away from being an accomplice to his next victim's situation. You know what I'm saying? By taking a bag and not making sure he goes through the court system to be prosecuted for what he done for you, to you, if he goes back out there and does it to somebody else, if we're looking at this the right way, you let it happen. Because you didn't prosecute him like you were supposed to. Instead, you took a bag. So it's a dirty game. People aren't looking at it properly because they put money over every damn thing. And we know how what that trickles down to, because we're seeing it in the worst way over in Gaza right now. The perverse morals of our system and how we operate, to where if you got enough money, you could just pay somebody off to help to keep from being accountable for freaking the R word, which I think is something that as we go forward to do something different in regards to. That should never be the case. That should never be the case, man. So he can go back out there and have more victims? As long as he got enough money, he can just keep paying people off? Not to say that he's guilty or innocent. This ain't even about him specifically. It's just about the situation and what's allowed. To be very clear, I don't know if P. Diddy did anything. I don't know. But I'm saying, like, to allow such a thing to continue to be possible based on the fact that he can pay it off is not something we should allow in this system. At all. If the system itself is serious about stopping and deterring the behavior. So for me, it's just like, man, that system is created by a bunch of people who are likely, and I'm just going to say this, likely abusers them damn selves. We need to be very, very aware, while we're putting money in front of everything, why certain things not certain people in positions of power allow money to cure all circumstances. You need to know that it ain't just for any other reason in a lot of cases than to keep them and what they do in a position from which to be able to get away with it themselves. Just like I said about how we allowing these people to kill these kids. You're allowing them people to kill those kids because you probably sex trafficking kids your damn self. And your morals, your moral compass as it pertains to children is bleeding through as we see how you behave in regards to allowing that to be the case. Snitching on yourself, dry snitching on yourself in a way. And it's like when it comes to stuff like this, you gotta understand there's so many people out there abusing people sexually, knowing that at any moment they can be held accountable for that from within positions of power as it pertains to people who have in positions to uphold laws and write laws. A lot of those people's moral compass and deviancy is extensive. Very extensive and very, very, very serious as it pertains to what they allow themselves to get away with, what they don't check themselves in regards to doing. Those people are terrible in some cases. So yeah, hell yeah, they're gonna allow for the ability to pay somebody off to keep from being held accountable for something. Hell yeah, they're gonna do that. Why? Because they're doing stuff they ain't got no business doing. And they want to be able to pay somebody off if for some reason it goes left. Y'all gotta know this stuff, man, as y'all continue to behold some of these backwards moral allowings or allowances. I don't know if that's the right word, but things that we allow to do that we know clearly are backwards. Any good attached to that? Hell no. Are we enabling someone who has a lot of power and money to continue doing this? Yes, you are. Yes. You let them pay off every victim and don't let them go to jail for that. You allow them to be right back on the street to do the same thing that they did to somebody, to another person. That is what you're allowing, America. Because they know all they got to do is keep paying it off and they can keep on doing the worst of things. So what are we allowing? When you don't hold somebody accountable, does that thirst become worse? In some cases, of course. And it can manifest into worse things when they know they can get away with it. So I'm just in a space where I'm like, look, this whole thing with Gaza has me looking at all of the stuff that y'all allowing by way of the mighty dollar as just stuff that just should be examined closely. Examined closely. So that all these serial abusers and deviants who are able to pay their way through these circumstances and thus uphold all of the things that represent and are responsible for, which is a big part of that. Because you know a lot of these people, if the big guy goes down, a lot of jobs go by the wayside, a lot of deals don't get to get kept. And we're seeing that with this whole situation with Israel too. America gonna follow Israel off a damn cliff because they're gonna keep them deals that they have in place intact. So everything else doesn't fall apart. That's another reason why they're gonna let a dude pay off some bull crap like this. They let him pay that off because if he falls, he gonna snitch. If he falls, the deal goes flat. If he falls, this, that, and the third. Some people just know too much, that kind of thing. And I'm telling you, man, we are allowing these type of situations to go unpunished because of those type of circumstances. Which, in my humble opinion, is why capitalism is flawed as hell, man. It's flawed. It's upheld by cheaters in a lot of cases. People who cheat the game to make it so that they can win it. And this is how it is allowed by way of the laws that let deviants go unpunished. Full-fledged deviants go unpunished. And a lot of times it takes those deviant minds to be as ambitious to step over every damn thing to get the power in the first place. So you can predict that there's more of them in them circumstances and probably on the damn street being poor. Ambitious people are going to take what they want regardless. That type of mentality is probably more found out there in the upper ranks than it is down here in the lower ones. So a lot of people down here don't have the ambition to take everything they want. Out of desperation, they'll take what they need. Out of desperation, they'll do evil stuff. But to be as ambitious to take and take it from her and take her, you got to have a certain bit of arrogance in your mind to even think like that to begin with in a lot of cases. Those are rich people. These are people with power. So, hell yeah, they're writing the laws to make sure that they don't ever be held accountable for the stuff that they do, and they can always pay off somebody else to keep being able to live the life they want to live. And if that happens to be to victimize your sister or your kid, you goddamn right, they're going to do that. And they're going to censor anybody like me talking about it too, so they can keep doing it. Like I said, this Gaza thing, it opened my eyes, but more so than anything, it just helped me see what was already there. My eyes was already pretty much open in regards to this. It just needed to be articulated a certain way that only these circumstances could give us the pointers from which to start. We need to understand beyond the shadow of a doubt, wrong is wrong. The R word is wrong. Abuse is wrong. Regardless of who's doing it. And then from there, it needs to be held in check. It needs to be stopped to the betterment of the victims and the last name of the person doing it. If you continue to let people buy their way through these circumstances and pay their way through these circumstances, you will never see that. You will never see that. What you'll see is more of an ambition to get money so that you can continue to do these things. Not necessarily people trying to get help so they can stop doing them. Help for the deviancy in a lot of our minds. People are sick, man, and they need to be stopped so that they don't find themselves tortured by the things that they do. Who's holding them accountable? Certainly not capitalism. Capitalism's too busy trying to make them rich. And that, my friends, is the problem. They're making victims rich, which victims should be made whole anyway. But you're making the accusers rich, which in a lot of cases is the wrong way to go, to say the least. So that's something that needs to be understood, man. And then people want to sit back and say, oh my God, we're pro-life. Oh my God, we can't stand, we're pro-women's rights. Oh my God, we're pro-victim rights. We believe all women. Yeah. But you also going to continue to turn around and uphold a system that allows people to pay people off for stuff like this. Allows people to pay themselves away from being held accountable for stuff like this. And you want to go home and teach your kid right from wrong? What's right? What's wrong? It's the problem. It's just the culture that's wrong. It's the people that uphold that culture that ain't right. But in the name of capitalism, you're going to make sure the money does everything for you. It's going to make sure the money heals all wounds, don't it? You just buy your way through it. But you went through that trauma, buy a bag, buy some shoes, buy as much drugs as you can scarf down your body to numb the pain. That's what they're doing to these people. Kill them by way of their money. You ain't helping these people. And so that's where I'm coming from. I'm a different breed. You may call me crazy. I'm fine with that. Because if I'm thinking alongside the lines that you are, I'm just upholding the same crap. And I will not. I was a victim. I didn't get a bag, and I'm not looking for one. You understand what I'm saying? Straight up. If I were to look for anything, it would be justice for what took place. I don't want the person that did that to me to be able to buy their way through that. Pay me off, now I'm good, walk away, and that's cool. The system allows for that. And the lawyers that uphold that nonsense, push that nonsense onto the people who are victims, who are already terrorized and tormented, don't halfway know what the hell they're doing, can't even think along the line straight, probably staying up all night thinking about what happened to them. Of course they're going to listen to their lawyer. We're in a culture where we got to listen to our lawyer. What's the lawyer upholding? Pay. Me first, pay them sec, pay me first. And we pay me some more. That shit is whack. And it does nothing for the healing of these issues at all. It just reinforces that it's okay to do so long as you're making money for somebody. Capitalism is garbage. And if y'all can't see that through these conversations we've been having, I don't know what to tell you. And you can silence me, next person, talk about it all you want. It don't make no difference. It doesn't take away from the facts. It doesn't change what it is that we're looking at if we're looking at it clearly, man. It doesn't change nothing. And things need to change, that's the point. Something needs to change. So at some point in time, are we going to use our brains and stop allowing people who are looking to victimize others, stop allowing them to be able to continue to uphold, and I'm looking for a certain word, co-sign, that ain't the word. It's enabling, that's what it is. Continue to enable this behavior. You can keep on enabling this behavior if you want to. All it tumbles forward is things you can't do nothing about, getting completely out of hand, like what's going on in Israel. That's all it tumbles forward to being. You keep on that relay, you keep that relay, you keep that relay, you keep that relay, pass it forward, pass it forward, pass it forward, and eventually you get people like Israel killing babies, and you don't want to do nothing about it for the same freaking reason. Because money is key, and we, our morals have always been set to the side. So of course we're gonna allow our morals to be set to the side even going forward. It's just stupidity, man. Y'all can keep doing that if you want to, but it ain't gonna work. Because eventually it's gonna meet you at your doorstep, and you're gonna want people to have morals in regards to you being victims. And you know what they're gonna say? Where the money at? Where's the money? When it's your daughter, is it still where the money? A lot of y'all, yeah. That's unfortunately, that's the culture you're in. You can't think of what's right and wrong outside of what's going on around you and the culture that you're in. It just is what it is. It's how we do it. It's just, this is garbage. Somebody was smart enough to think this crap up, and that is why it's in place. And somebody else is going to be smart enough to think their way around it, which is why it's going to go away. Hence me. People aren't creative. They just relay the same old crap going forward over and over again, and it always ends the same way. That's why they said it's a sinful world, because of agreements such as these, and people can't think their way out of the agreements around them. And the people who are putting these circumstances in place are usually the ones that mean the worst to us, mean the worst for us. It's like we were talking about earlier. So they can have some master plan of keeping everybody else underneath the thumb of guilt, so they can kill babies in the night and get away with it. That's all it ever was. If you really want to know the truth, all that capitalism crap was to keep everybody under the thumb of guilt, man. That's all it ever was. You're going to be too damn guilty to be able to speak up on certain things because you did what you need to do to get your money, and now you a selfish bastard just like everybody else who relayed that same crap forward. It's just the same nonsense, man. That's why so many of these billionaires ain't got nothing to say about stuff you know damn well that they wouldn't be able to sleep at night if it was happening to their kids. It's capitalism, that's why. And everything that comes with it. The agreements to do wrong, the agreements to look away. I see no evil, hear no evil. Bullshit. That's what I got to say about the Josh Giddey situation. Not to say that he did anything that they're saying he did, but you just know how it's going to be handled around him. If he got enough money to pay it off, if he was guilty, he'd get away with it. If he don't have enough money to pay it off, he goes to jail like every other poor person that does something wrong they ain't got no business doing. And people like Gloria Allred come in, make sure the victim gets a certain amount of money, he walks away, maybe he goes to jail, I don't know, who cares, right? As long as the money's right. She continues to push forward her fame. It's just a bad moral system, man. The system is morally bankrupt and riddled with demonic energy. Just be honest. That's what it is, man. It's riddled in demonic energy. I don't care how you slice it or what angle you're looking at it from. That's what it is. It's demonic. God ain't nowhere to be found in that crap. And then if he were found in there, then you would see how things would balance out, how people would hold people accountable for stuff, how people would both be healing the victims and the accusers would be trying to find ways of healing and being better. If God was in any of this, people would have all the money they would need, maybe even a little more because he's nice like that. But no, you got to take it all. Nah, you got to be able to let that person do what he needs to do so he can keep his capitalistic Jenga game going on, because if that one fall, he ain't going to tell on that dude, and if he tell on that dude, then you're going to lose money over here. It's just a bunch of bull crap. It's all evil. People need to let it all fall down so we can get back to where we need to be completely honest with you. People are afraid to do that. Fear always keeps evil going. Hopelessness always keeps evil going. Greed always keeps evil going. And what comes with evil? Victims. Victims who either get paid off or no justice come their way in a lot of cases. That's what happens. It's got to get to a point where we don't let that happen anymore. And who's going to care enough to do that when everybody's making money, right? Everybody's making a buck, so who cares, right? Because if there's a problem, we just throw money at it. She got a problem, just throw some money at it. She's a victim, man, she get over it, just give her some money. But then you don't want to give certain people money. Who's going to give black people money for reparations? Who's going to give the Palestinian people money for the remainders of who's left from that genocide? Who's going to make sure the people of Congo get their money? Who's going to make sure the Native Americans get their money? See what I'm saying? It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. That's why when I look at what Malika Andrews is talking about, I look at the people above her because they're the ones that know enough about that. She don't know nothing about that. She's only been on this earth for 5 minutes, man. She don't know a damn thing about that. Just to be honest, she knows what she was taught. By who? Who influenced her to think however she thinks? The point is, there's a lot to learn just from being here and watching people go through what they go through and then seeing the consequences thereafter. And then you're like, okay, well, that's why I probably shouldn't think that way. It comes with time. And the people who are above her have had that kind of time. And they made their decisions, they made their choices. So if they want her to speak on Josh Giddey, she'll speak on Josh Giddey. If they want her not to speak on Josh Giddey, she ain't gonna speak on Josh Giddey. And if they have reasons behind that have something to do with their Jenga games or have something to do with their beliefs, however that goes, then that's what it is. She just gonna do what she's supposed to be doing because that's what it is. This is how you make it up the ladder of what you're doing. Just like a lot of young people. Got to do this way, got to do this way, got to hear to that. Don't ask questions. If you do ask questions, you're probably going to have to go through the consequences you don't want to go through, etc. It's just a bunch of bullcrap, friends. Capitalistic nonsense. You only realize that it doesn't work when you see the people that you trusted fall to the consequences of the bad energy that they engage in. And that's coming. That's the part that a lot of us have grown old enough to understand. Some people, maybe not the ones behind us, but the ones ahead of us, the ones who going forward who've been doing a lot of this evil, they're going to have to face consequences. Maybe they were studying people who didn't. Maybe that's why they thought they can get away with it. But the reality is, if you're pushing an agenda that deteriorates morality for a people and not for others, or upholds morality for a people and not for others, in the internet age, it's going to be very difficult for you to move in that direction going forward. Very difficult. So God bless Malika Andrews' life. She's going to live long enough to see why some of that stuff that she's doing isn't any good. Whether she believes that now or not. If that's what it is. And at the end of the day, just like every other black person in these situations, you're going to find out whether you're biracial or just black out like me. You're going to find out you are not that. What they are, you are not that. Even if you half of that, you're not that. Because your skin tells a story. And they're going to tell you that and treat you that way eventually if they don't already now. She gets the murmurs now. I'm sure she does. She gets it from both sides. Just like most biracial people do in those walks of life. You get it from both sides. You ain't never quite black enough. You ain't never quite Jewish enough. This is what it is. And eventually you just realize you learn to love yourself. So for me, I just look at her as a little kid who's following directions. No different than whoever would ever be in the little school next to me right here. Following directions. Has yet to figure out, or rather learn what comes with following certain directions. Josh Giddey, no different. Same thing. He got to learn how to manage his energy. Work on his discernment of what makes sense and who should allow in his life and who he shouldn't. At 19 years old, I'm not in a space to tell you right and wrong, but I can tell you when I was 19 years old, I didn't know any damn better about a lot of things, man. So if you want to hold me accountable, call me the worst guy in the world for something I did at 19, believe you me, I've learned lessons. I'm 39 now. 20 years later, I wouldn't do the same things. Thank God y'all didn't cast a stone at me for the mistakes I made at 19. And even younger than that for the victim? Psh, come on now. And there has to be an honest conversation had about the distance between 19 and whatever the age she is, 16. You gotta have an honest conversation about that. Because the projection, and we talk about projection a lot when people place upon the sicknesses in them onto others, the projection forward to what it really means to be targeting children who are like 16 years old when you're like 39 versus 19 years old when you're only 3 years older than her, it's a very big difference. It's just like people who look at kids when they do certain things, say, oh my God, why is that kid acting like that? No, you're looking at them that way. That kid don't know nothing about that. They don't know nothing about that for which you're looking at. You're looking at it through your grown, sick-minded lens. They're just children. You're projecting. Let them pick out there, oh, why is he wearing heels? Oh, he wants to be a woman. No, he don't want to be a woman. He just wants to wear heels. Saw his mommy wear heels. I put my mommy's heels on when I was little. I didn't want to be a woman. Y'all projecting through your lens that crap. That's not what them kids are thinking. Unless you're teaching them that. And then they have to behold the world around them for that to even have context from which for any of it to make sense. Of course they're going to uphold it. You told them to. You're the grown-up. They're going to follow you. A lot of this stuff is just copy and paste in that way until they behold what the world actually is. Then they're like, oh my God. So maybe I did want to be like that. Or maybe I didn't. But y'all looking through y'all sick, grown-up, sexualized lens with bad culture and money being everything. Of course y'all gonna project that garbage onto the next generation when they're tiny. But you gotta understand, they ain't thinking about all that crap you thinking about. They just trying to please you because you're a grown-up. That's it. That is literally it. A lot of this stuff, man, I'm telling you, society projects a lot. And so when I look at a kid like Josh Giddey at 19 years old, and he may have had a girlfriend that was 3 years younger than him, I'm not throwing him in prison for that. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. He's not the same thing as if somebody my age was doing that. It's not the same thing. Just because society put it in law, he also put it in law that Palestinian kids deserve to be murdered. That's in law too. He also said what was in law. You said me, black person, needed to be a slave. 3/5 of a human being, that's law too. So as far as I can tell, your laws are shit. A lot of cases. And getting on a child for being with a girl who is literally 3 years younger than him because he's 19 years old and you've deemed him grown at 19 or however that works is absolutely asinine in real life. In real life, it's asinine. In real life. In your warped capitalistic U.S. life mind, oh yeah, no, he's a pedophile. He's the worst guy in the world. But in real life, 3 years. Rip the damn Band-Aid off. Y'all sick. He ain't in that situation. Just be honest. You drew a line and you said that's what it is. If you want to lower that line, you lower it there. And if a couple generations went with that line, that would be the line it is. Period. Some stuff needs to be understood as that. It ain't deeper than that. People decide where they want to draw their morality line, but we start seeing where their morality lines doesn't add up against different people and different circumstances. Then you understand that they just measure them lines out for their own benefit, not necessarily for the betterment of the people who are involved. In the real world, Josh Giddey should not be going to jail for any damn thing in regards to the situation, especially if she lied. He shouldn't have to pay a dime or any of that. Y'all draw a magic line at her age, that's where she's at, and that's what it is, I guess. Until you decide to lower the line, like I already said. Stop it. A man shouldn't have to pay nobody nothing. 3-year damn difference. BDF 44, I thank you all for watching.